ready for the start of the 0500 at Sandown, the 24th running of this race, with Peter Brock and Dick Johnson on the front row of the grid. It's Johnson that's got pole. Andrew Medicki and Tony Longhurst make up the second row of the grid. Then the first of the Nissans, Jimmy Richards and Glenn Seaton on the third row of the grid. 10 seconds for a start for the Sandown Classic, the 24th running around the Sandown circuit in Melbourne. Red light is on. Green light, and we've got the 05 500. Wheel spinning from Dickie Johnson. Jim Richards has got a good start from the outside, but it looks like Peter Brock that's going to lead the big field down to turn one for the first time. Glenn Seaton comes up on the inside of Peter Brock, and there's a gaggle of Ford Sierras heading down the main straight of Sandown. It's Brock that gets the jump from Glenn Seaton. All cars look as though they're through smoothly in this very tight left-hander. There's a 35 kilometre breeze or gale pushing these cars down the main straight, but it's Brock that's got the jump from Medic. It's Seaton in third place with one of the Benson and Hedges cars. It looks like Tony Longhurst up into fourth.
Yes, it is Longhurst in fourth place, and he's ranging right up on the back of Seaton as they go up the back straight for the first time, and this is where they really hit the headwind. It's like driving into a brick wall going up the back straight today. It really has been blowing a gale as we see Brock lead Medicki down through the S's down to Shell Corner at Dandenong Road for the first time, and the Sierras that have dominated the top 10, there's about 6 of them in a row before we get the first of the Nissans, which I think is Jimmy Richards.
Dick Johnson back in 5th place from pole position. He looked as though he was just left standing on the start line with wheels spinning. He couldn't get the traction. He's obviously, the cars have been standing on the start line for about 5 minutes, and the tyres have gone very, very cold. That's Dickie Johnson, but it's 05. Peter Brock out in the lead from Medicki, from Seaton in third place, from Longhurst in fourth, and Dickie Johnson back in 5th. It looks like Jones has taken over 6th place from Jimmy Richards in the second of the gold-coloured cars.
And big cloud of smoke as number 18, and that's the second of the Shell cars, locked up a brake. And in actual fact, Ian, I can confirm now that it is Alan Jones that's the leading Benson and Hedges car, with Longhurst is the second of them.
That's Dickie Johnson back in 5th place. Alan Jones in 4th place. Got the left-hand drive car, but that's 05. Peter Brock taken the lead with a beautiful start the outside of the front row of the grid, and has that gap over Andrew Medicki. Medicki, who's had a terrible season. He had a terrible race here at Sandown last year, out to revenge all of this and to win today.
Oh, a great shot of Peter Brock working in the cabin then as he rounded Dandenong Road for the second time, and you get a good idea of the way that Brock works so smoothly at the wheel. He really is a master. But Medicki's really giving him some curry at the moment. And Seaton not far back in third with Alan Jones. A very welcome return to touring car racing for Alan Jones, doing very well in fourth.
Medicki still with the pressure on Peter Brock as they head down the main straight. That's Brock. You can see Medicki right on his tail. A small gap back to Glenn Seaton with Alan Jones right on Seaton's tail. Nothing in it between these two leading Sierras.
Johnson and Longhurst are the two behind those two in 5th and 6th place.
Brock locking up a brake going into the 05 corner. Head out. Colin Bond is in trouble further down the field. So Gary Rogers actually behind the wheel of that car. That's our 3rd place car, Glenn Seaton, and
Moffat.
That's Moffat.
Moffat spun around in the just after chicane going up to 05 corner.
Something we're not used to seeing. There's
he looks pretty stationary, so I don't know whether in fact he's actually in trouble.
Let's have another look of Alan Moffat spin going out of the 0 corner. He's lost it going into the corner, keeps going right around, faces another Sierra, Ford Sierra.
Yeah, it's Kevin Waldock.
Back to our race leader, Peter Brock, still with Andrew Medicki on his heels. Seaton back in 3rd.
Brock, a nice little cushion he's got now, and right down the inside, that's Longhurst trying to get around Dick Johnson, but Johnson's also pulled out on Alan Jones. Now, has he got enough to get through? He has, and Dick Johnson takes over from Alan Jones. Jones right back. And Longhurst teammate, of course, tucked in behind there, the Bathurst winner, Tony Longhurst from 1988, and very keen to do well in the long distance races here again. So the three Sierras together, but look how Johnson is starting to get away from Jones already.
Dick Johnson now chasing Glenn Seaton in the blue Sierra, heading up the back straight. Johnson a charge, but it's still Brock in the lead from Medici, from the blue Peter Jackson Sierra of Glenn Seaton. There's Johnson right on his tail with the two Benson and Hedges cars on his tail. Sierras locked together as they go round Dandenong Road corner.
This is a real Sierra train at the moment. That's
Goodbye
the
to,
BMW of
the Hudson car.
Here's Peter Hudson driving car 36. And now Seaton is really coming under challenge from Johnson. Johnson is coming out. There's Longhurst right out on the side. I don't know why he's doing that, unless he's trying to get a good run from the wind. A tremendous gale blowing down the front straight. So if Longhurst can get out there, he's not getting the wind blocked by cars close behind him.
That's Johnson chasing Glenn Seaton right in front of him, nose to tail, as they go through the 05 corner, which is the corner that brings you onto the back straight. Little short straight there, then a kick the hill. Johnson moving away from Longhurst and right on the tail of Glenn Seaton. Push, throw out a challenge this time round at the top of the hill. He does so, he wants to go on the inside, but Seaton's not letting him. He's forcing him over to the outside. Johnson gets up side by side with Glenn Seaton. Is he through? Yes, he's going to slam the door in the face of Glenn Seaton, cuts him right off, but takes third place away from Glenn Seaton. So Dickie Johnson on a charge, now out to catch Andrew Medici, who's in second place, just behind our race Peter Brock.
Yes, well, that was a very brave manoeuvre by Dick, but then again,
forced into it.
He knew Glenn Seaton is a very good controller of his car, so he probably had no worries about pulling off such a close manoeuvre with Glenn Seaton.
Some slower traffic already after only a few laps. It's Dick Johnson, 5 out of 161 completed.
And again, Longhurst out wide. Now, can he get past Seaton? Well, he's got down the inside. Yes, he has. He's got inside Seaton. Well, that was a bold manoeuvre. So poor Glenn Seaton's been shuffled back 2 places by 2 very, very good pieces of driving. Third,
back to fifth in less than 1 lap for Glenn Seaton. That's Dick Johnson in the red car going through in third place. Then it's Longhurst, then the 30 car of Glenn Seaton.
Yes, and then the first of the Nissans I just saw a glimpse of. There he is. So that will be Jim Richards. He's confirmed that Jim Richards in car number 2 in 7th place. And I don't know, Ian, I still think that Richards is going to be a contender for this race towards the end of the day.
I've seen him many times sit back in the 500 Classic here at Sandown and just wait for the cars to sort themselves out. There's pit stops to come, there's all sorts of things to happen. And Jimmy Richards is one of the cleverer drivers.
Yes, he's looking to get round Alan Jones in the second of the Benson and Hedges cars. There's Jones there, number 20, right behind Seaton. And they've got the BMW of Joe Somariva in front of them. They'll lap him. They do so. The 3 of them go almost as one. And look at the pace there. You can see the Sierras pull away from the skyline, but you wait till they get to the corner and Jimmy Richards is right up to them again.
That's Glenn Seaton, relegated just recently from 3rd back to 5th. That's Jimmy Richards in 7th place.
And Seaton tucked right on the back, and here's Jones really challenging at Seaton now. So Seaton is perhaps pacing himself, but finding himself being shuffled down the field after an excellent start.
Let's see, the pack that's on the left of your screen. Andrew Medici in 2nd place in the Kingwood Sierra, being pursued by Dick Johnson. Johnson on a charge, has recently passed 1 or 2 cars up to the top of the back straight. Can he get past Medici this time round? Not quite. Into the S as they go down towards Dandenong Road corner. Dick Johnson right on the heels of Medici this time round. He's only just got to sit there and maybe will be helped by the tailwind of some 35 knots down the main straight. Tight right-hander, then a left-hander, then they're onto the main straight. Number 6, Andrew Medici. 2nd place being pursued by Johnson.
Yes, and also being pursued by Tony Longhurst, who has not lost nothing to Johnson. He's only about 3 or 4 car lengths behind. So with Johnson really pacing out and passing some cars in just recent laps, Longhurst has not lost anything to them.
Medici appeared to pull away from Johnson down the main straight just marginally that time. The gap diminishes once again as they go through the chicane heading up towards the 05 corner.
Now they'll have to use the bags of horsepower of the Sierras into this stiff headwind to go up the back straight. And we'll see the comparative performances Ian was mentioning about Medicki pulling away down the front straight. Now let's see how they do into this wind. And again, Medicki appears to have got away.
The gap larger this time than down the main straight, but Dick Johnson closes up the gap as they come into the braking area for the S's. Longhurst right on their tail. It's Medicki, Johnson, Longhurst.
The Bathurst winner doing very well.
Second, third, and fourth. Meanwhile, whilst these cars are playing around, having a little dice of their own, Peter Brock opens up the gap even more. Brock still out in the lead. These dueling Sierras get past one of these slower cars. That's Brock, our race leader.
Clive Smith in the Nissan it was, as Longhurst got very wide then, took the dirt on the outside.
Great battle between these three, and Johnson coming down the middle. Who's going to come off the best? Is it Dickie Johnson on the outside of Andrew Medicki in that tight left-hander, and he pulls it off. He's got a right-hander coming up.
Yes, he must have it now. Yes, he has, and Longhurst has got through too.
Oh. So Andrew Medicki's second back to fourth in a period of about 200 metres. Dick Johnson now in the second place, 4.5 seconds in arrears of Peter Brock. Brock to Johnson, 4.5 seconds. You can see Johnson, you can see Longhurst, and the third white car is Andrew Medicki, now back in fourth place. Geez, he may have been, but second place he is now, and pulling away a little bit from Medicki, but not so from Tony Longhurst. Henson and Hedges' car of Tony Longhurst keeping Dick Johnson very honest as they come onto the main straight once again.
Well, it's been said many times before, Ian, that the Sandown race is really a 500-kilometre sprint. And that's what they appear to be doing with this one. These two are really dicing in these early laps, certainly not sitting back and making it a long-distance race as far as tactics are concerned.
Brock's still comfortable with the 5.2 second gap between himself and Dick Johnson. Johnson, right corner. Down a short straight, a slight bend to the right and up the hill, up the main straight.
It's that little kink masks their view of the back straight. You can't see up the straight until you come round by that fence, and it would also mask the wind. So as soon as they come round that little kink, you would cop this tremendous headwind straight in your face.
Have a look at these two stuck together, nose to tail, fighting it out, as you correctly say, the sprint race. 161 laps is a long time to keep sprinting, but that's what Johnson and Longhurst are doing right now. Left-hander up past the pits once again. This will be 10 of 161 laps completed when they come down past the grandstand. Ben Seaton, Alan Jones.
This is the second of the Johnson cars. There's Jeff Alam in the driver's seat and Jim Richards in car number 2. Now Alam has passed Richards. Richards was ahead of him, but he's hanging on very, very grimly to him, having been supplanted for that spot.
Battling it out in 7th and 8th position, Jeff Alam and Jimmy Richards.
So there they're going up the back straight. Jimmy Richards clinging to the back of the Sierra. Nissan certainly not losing out in power, but there's
Longhurst has got
Longhurst.
past Richards. Amazing, that battle that was going on, and up the back straight, Tony Longhurst has passed Dick Johnson, relegating him back to third place. Johnson won't be impressed with that.
Well, that really must be one of the few occasions this year that Johnson has been passed.
Certainly must. There's Tony Longhurst, opens up a little bit of a gap now that he's got past Johnson.
Johnson dominated the Touring Car Championship as he did in the 1988 season, and becomes 1989 and 1988 Australian Touring Car Champion. And he really hasn't been passed in a race very often at all.
Peter Brock has opened up the lead to 6.1 seconds between himself and Tony Longhurst, and it's probably a second between Longhurst and Johnson. See the gap right there.
That's